the very same positive experience in these near-death experiences. Can you imagine what would happen if Satan came to unbelievers as dark, evil spirits, and then they came back to life? They would be terrified out of their wits. So what does he do? He gives them an experience of light, an experience of peace. They meet a being that has no concern about future judgment. They are led to believe that everything on the other side is sweetness and light and happiness. One woman said that she had an experience like that, and Jesus came and took her by the hand and led her and showed her all the different paths. Here's the path of Buddhism. Here's the path of Hinduism. Here's the path of Christianity. And Jesus wanted her to know that all the paths lead to the same place. Isn't that sweet? I can assure you that that was not Jesus. That was who? Satan himself, transformed into a being of light with all the sweetness and love and ecumenism that one could possibly muster. And so she comes back to tell everybody authoritatively, it doesn't matter what you believe, we're all going the same place. Now, I want you to know today that I know with absolute, unquestioned certainty that those are demonic experiences. They are not from God. The light that is often seen is not the light of Jesus Christ. It is the light of a demonic spirit who comes like he used to come to Shirley, and probably still does, clothed in light. You say, why is it that you are so sure? Why all this dogmatism? I'll tell you why. Because the messages that people bring back from the other side are sharply contradicted by the Bible. What do you mean, this idea that everybody's going to the same place, when Jesus spoke more about hell than he did about heaven? What do you mean that there is no judgment when it says in Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27, it is appointed unto man once to die and then the judgment? What do you mean, sweetness and light, when Jesus had so much to say about the terror that awaits unbelievers? It is nothing but a deception pulled off by gullible people who don't want to believe the Word of God. Rodney Clapp, in an article in Christianity Today, said some fantastic things. He said that these near-death experiences tell us no more about death than someone who has been near Denver but not in the city. Some people have a near-Denver experience. Some people have a near-death experience. Neither of them is authoritative. And I agree. They are bereft of certitude, he says. You know, I don't want to care too much about what happens in a near-death experience. I want to know what happens to me when I die, not what happens when I'm only near death. I want to take the words of somebody who is qualified to tell me what lies on the other side. I want to take the words of somebody who is not just near death, but who was totally dead. Somebody whose body began to disintegrate. Somebody whose body turned stone cold and then was put in a tomb for 3 days and then was resurrected. Now there's somebody who can be believed. I think books like this are nothing but an absolute insult to Jesus Christ. Closer to the light. Of course I have no objection to him interviewing them and even writing them up. But why act as if Jesus, who died and who rose again, has nothing to say on the subject? And we have to believe and rely upon the bits and pieces of human experience. Now all that is supposed to be an introduction to my message today. Aren't you glad you came? That's the intro, folks. If you think that you're getting out here without your money's worth, think again. Relax. Let's turn to Genesis chapter 2 and 3 for just a moment. Just a couple of thoughts about death. And clearly, I'm going to have to finish this message next week. I had no idea that the intro was going to be this long.
Well, my friend, this is Pastor Lutzer, and you have the opportunity of listening to the entire message. So I hope that you will tune in next time on this very critical series regarding 1 minute after you die. But I want to emphasize again, as I did in the previous segment, that it is so dangerous for us to become involved in the occult. I'm going to ask you to warn your children about shows such as Buffy the Vampire or Charmed. I can tell you stories about children who got into various occult games on the internet, and they became so demonized, so affected by evil spirits, that they needed special deliverance. We're living at a time of deep deception, and the problem is that we are willingly being deceived. People want to think that the occult is nothing but make-believe. Well, it isn't. It is real. And there are spirits out there to deceive people and to give them false hope that when they die, everything will be fine. Well, keep listening, my friend, keep learning, and let us keep watch in this very confused world.
Thank you, Dr. Lutzer. That was Dr. Erwin Lutzer with Part 2 of A Glimpse Behind the Curtain, the first message in his series, 1 Minute After You Die. Monday, we'll get more of our Glimpse Behind the Curtain. Running to Win comes to you from Chicago's Moody Church to point us toward the goal line in the race of life. One day, all of us will find ourselves in eternity. Knowing where we're going makes life's race worthwhile. Our series, 1 Minute After You Die, can be yours on CD, cassette, or MP3, or in Dr. Lutzer's full-length book. For complete information, call toll-free at 1-800-215-5001. That's 1-800-215-5001. To learn more about Moody Church and the many resources available to you, visit our website at runningtowin.org. Don't forget, this broadcast is supported by listeners like you. This is Dave McAllister. Join us Monday for our next Running to Win.